Hi, this is Elliot Wavesage. Want to go ahead and do a market update? Like always, this isn't financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. So I believe this market is going to start having a lot of pullbacks and then rallies to new highs and pullbacks. So some violent choppiness is ahead, but it will grind higher and higher. So right now, the setup here, looks something like, three waves down, here in the SPY, and you could easily see another three waves down, down to 427. If it were to do this, it is, we don't know what tomorrow's trading is going to be like, but if we do get a nice healthy sell-off like we had today, this could be a very good buyable area for a dip buy right here for a bounce and possibly a bounce to new highs to 450. There's no guarantee that this is going to happen. Now, if it here, you could easily see three waves down, so the correction could be over here, and we could actually rally to 450 from this point. So the market is kind of in a situation where it hasn't made the decision. But if it swings down, this is kind of the trade right here to buy the dip. And same thing with the triple Qs. If it can swing back down to 357, 355 area, and then the Dow Jones, if it could swing down here to 33,485, these are good buyable areas for buying the dip. The other alternative is that the correction is already over and we're going to go to new highs. And tomorrow will be green or rally. So we don't know, just kind of, so there are some setups on the indices tomorrow for buying the dip. Today was not a day to buy the dip in the indices. The Hang Seng is continuing to sell off here. You have a three-wave move that should be ending soon at some point. Want to see that bounce here, and it could have already corrected this entire rally off this low. And again, couple things to point out. This rally looks, like it corrected the entire cycle down. So it's clearly a connector wave for that three-wave move. And I was looking at this here. You don't really have divergence at this peak. So we have to be careful that this isn't just a three-wave bounce. But this would be more detrimental for the market overall if this is going to continue the bearish decline in another three waves, and it's a connector wave, and we go down to retest the October lows in the Hang Seng. So is that possible? Anything's possible. Is it likely? Not likely, unless the dollar is going to spike pretty hard. This would be not probable a drop, but this low is very important right here, I think, for the overall direction of stock market in general, and could result in a shift in strategy. So this is key to keep an eye on, especially strong as it's been dumping the last couple of days. So again, no divergence, so it could be three waves, but again, if I want to force five waves, I can easily do that with these swing counts here. There's your first wave, and then maybe you have another wave here, something like this, and you force it, something like that. So I think for now, I would just keep an eye on this, the Hang Seng, keep an eye on it, and watch this level. But until then, this could be a really good opportunity if it is a 1-2-1-2, because then we could be going into a 3 of 3 moment in China, which is why I thought the YI at N was a good buy, and may still be tomorrow, as long as we're above this low. I'm looking from an RSI standpoint. That 4-hour RSI still has some more room to fall, so it could still go lower. The 45-minute is due for a bounce, so we may see something also like this. And you're like, why am I spending so much time on the China market? It's important because I think this is the driver that is going to help extend this. And they've been talk about China stimulating their economy, and perhaps there is a big stimulus that will emerge, that will propel this out of this correction and then move the world markets higher. So look for something like this potentially. I'll just leave that here, something like that. But as long as we're above this low, the market structure in terms of buying the dip is intact. The only instrument that's really still, suspect is the Russell, right? The Russell, but although I'm still expecting the Russell to bounce, but the Russell has made lower low sequences, indicating it should dump at some point. I do expect this spike and then a dump, like I have here, the Russell. So the Russell is a breakdown of the indices. I don't really have any other indices like that, but the Hang Seng, keep an eye on it, because if this breaks this level here, I would be concerned. I'd be concerned if this level breaks 1800, and then that could push the dollar higher and mess up a lot of trades that people may be in. So we got to keep an eye on this. Then looking at Bitcoin, broke out today. I think it's clear to say that it's either a connector, and if the Hang Seng will go to a new low, the dollar will rise, and this may come back and still tag this 2300. So you're never out of the woods with Bitcoin, but it's obviously a connector wave or the lows in, one or the other. So for now, it's kind of just leave it like this. This is an important pivot, and I believe we're in some kind of 3 of 3 out in progress. And then oil is, again, I'm looking for oil to pop to 89 in this 3-wave move before a bigger decline comes later. Gold, I do believe, is due for a bounce. It's oversold. It's been essentially in a correction since April. It's due for a rally. I believe this is a bear, just the last phases of a bear trap. I do have another area at 1834. If it can get there, I wouldn't buy any more of it here, but it can easily pop up, and I do believe it will come out of this higher, and then it could drop again if it wanted to do that. And silver, the same thing. It's again, it could be a connector wave. Next target's $20.93. If we don't get there, then it's a buyable dip against 22.72, and we'll need to keep an eye on that. I think these are gonna at least have a bounce, another bounce, but we'll see. And then this 1-year interest rate is really confused on what to do, and it's struggling, but it seems like it wants to go higher. It wants to go higher. These rates want to go higher. These interest rates want to go higher. They don't want to go lower. It seems like the pain trade is higher in interest rates, and that's where it seems like it's heading. And that's something to keep in mind, because if it gets too high, then the markets will dump on that. So so there's a happy medium between rates and where the market's trading, in tech especially. But if rates start to accelerate and get ahead of itself, tech is going to dump again hard. I think the CPI report coming up next month is important for that direction. And then the dollar index is just in this 2-wave here, and could be done here. Could take another swing up. We'll see. And then when this drop comes, the market should be pumping. This should pump a lot of stocks, commodities, metals when this drop comes. And the VIX is still getting pressure here. And again, could be another descending triangle that will break down below 13 soon. All right, that's the market. So I said again, a lot of chop. So this is where your day traders are going to be miserable because the market's going to swing erratically, and it's going to be tough to do, you know, zero date options, put in day trades. It's a day trader's nightmare unless you get lucky and get on the right side of the chop. But it's going to be a chop fest, and you just have to look at setups that make sense. Again, commodities, no good setups. I want to see lower prices in the producers. I don't like to buy here, and I just don't like to buy here. And all these need another dump. Someone's saying coal and coal stocks were running, and I do believe coal here could be in an expanded flat that is about to finish one more low. 1 2 1 2 3 4, 5 4 5. So keep an eye on that. And then the GDX and everything else, some kind of flat structure. I think these are just some kind of major flats that we're in, like ABCs, these flats. So that's why I think like the SILJ was a good buy today, maybe, and an ABC flat. Perhaps it can go a little bit lower, but it's, as you can see, it's been correcting since actually January, the end of January. So it's due for this correction is coming to an end soon. It's just got to be patient in that trade. I don't like any of the other stocks here. Uranium, something to keep an eye on. If it could have another smaller pullback. Right now we finished 5 up here, and I would want to see another leg lower in uranium. So watching those. Discretionary, Caravana is correcting this big cycle off the low. It's in 5 waves. The first buy area is at $20 for a bounce, and this would be a trader stock. So looking for $20, $21 in Caravana for a bounce, and just kind of scanning through things. Again, nothing really catching my eye. Someone's posted Home Depot. Home Depot's kind of a tricky one. I'm going to play that through the ETF, the XLY, and not play the stock. I was trying to look at it. There's really no good count that I could come up with that's bullish here. I mean, here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. So you have 5 here, and B and A. So could this be some kind of run-in flat off of this low? So I mean, you could try to make a case is some crazy, run-in flat here off this low, but this is clearly 5 waves down. So it just is too forced to me, and I'd rather just not trade this. I just don't like how it looks, but do what's best for you. And then the consumer staples, they're kind of weak today too. Not a lot of good action. I do want to pick up Celsius if I can fill this gap. Go back in on that. We'll keep an eye on Celsius if it can dump in this 2-wave. And then crypto pumped really nice, guys. GBTC, just a great trade. But like I said, this for me is I'm going to hold this through the next 4-year cycle now. So it's a multi-year hold, and we'll see where it goes from here. I have no intention of trading this position now. I'll just hold it and see what happens. And And if for some reason it takes another swing down to $11, $12, we'll buy more. And Litecoin is the same thing, coming out of this area, and it's in wave 3. And again, or it could be a connector, so we'll have to wait and see. But I won't go through all these, but if crypto found the low, these things are going to run in wave 3. And then I won't go through the ETFs today. The healthcare, nothing I want to mention there. Let's go through technology. And so AI is pulling back 5 up. So we're hoping to get a pullback down to 31, buyable dip. AMD almost in this, fill this gap, and that'll be a good dip buy. Netflix should get to this area. So Netflix, any pullback on Netflix is a good buy. I do like Disney here in this count against this low at 87, 86.94, as long as that can hold, but more importantly, 84.15 holds. It's almost, the idea is called backing into a low. So you're backing into a low in Disney, and obviously that strategy worked for Facebook and other stocks that didn't have an obvious bottom. So if the reason you say if you back into a low is if it breaks, you see the price goes negative. So is Disney going to go bankrupt? Probably not. So you're kind of backing into a low here. We're backing into a low, even though the count isn't perfect, isn't clear, and I could easily call this A, B, C. There's just no more real estate left on the downside unless you believe Disney is going bankrupt. The stock's going to zero, and that means this head and shoulders pattern would break. And as you know, the rule on the head and shoulders is the length, the head distance from the head to the neckline, and negative. There's no room. So Disney is an easy back it into the low, and if that's the case, it could be a generational buy right now, given how close it is to the low here. Let's go to the quarterly chart and see. So here you have the quarterly stochastic reset and crossed over. The last time that happened was at the dot-com bubble when it burst in 2002 and 1974. So we haven't had a buying opportunity this good in the last 22 years, and then 1974. So this cycle that we're in and you're living right now has only come very, not very often. As you can see how oversold the quarterly. So that's why I don't count this. It's just low. So you see it's this low, that low. So the lows on these quarterlies match. So Disney is, if you think it's going to go bankrupt, then definitely don't buy it. If you think it won't, then you want to buy here for a generational hold to probably $400 or $500 in the next 15 to 20 years. So do what's best for you. I'm sure AI will kick into this company and make it more profitable and have better cash flow as they use AI to replace graphic designers and replace the need for using film out in making movies and things that could just use AI, speed up the development process tremendously. All that is the future. It's probably going to make this a cash cow and a content generating machine once they get behind it and somebody at this company figures that out instead of worrying about battling the Florida governor. And once they get the politics shit put aside and they start focusing on the company, then the R&D side of the company, this thing's going to take off. So that's how I look at it. It's backing into a low. Like I said, I didn't like this in Facebook, but we missed the low on Facebook, so I'm bringing this up because we don't want to miss this low potentially here. But do what's best for you. Do what's best for you. And then Microsoft, all these other stocks, they're just going to come back in 3 waves, and then you'll have to make a decision whether to buy them or not. and that'll be a decision you'll have to make. There's no divergence there, so we're still in 5 or probably 3 in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is probably 3 here now, and it's extending. It's just extending higher. That's why you can't short divergences, because of the Google's struggling. Nice top. If it can dip down to 113, you could try to dip by that. Apple is just going to keep grinding higher. It looks like Amazon is struggling here. I think Amazon's dangerous. I'm not interested in that. Nvidia is going to just keep grinding higher. Probably push to 480 is what it's looking like, and then a massive decline. This will probably be when the indices turn down in the Y wave. So could have some sideways action. We'll have to wait and see. But again, it can still just extend higher if it erases divergence. So it's not something you want to try to short. Adobe's in 4, should make 5, a 4 and a 5, and then a bigger pullback. So Adobe's probably looking something like that. I do like the e-commerce, like I've been in Wayfair, like that. I've been trading that. The ad tech, if they can dip hard, I'd like to pick more of those up. And so Airbnb. So here's some other things I'm keeping an eye on. Airbnb at in $90 area, Dash at around 59, and Datadog in the 80s, low 80s, and our hood trade is working out okay. It's taking a little bit longer to get out of this mess, but it's coming out. And then today, BBAI looks like to me it's could be ready to hit a 3 of 3 and get some separation out of this shit that it's in. And then S-Sound is another good one that's in a wave 3. And I think when you really zoom out on sound, you got this massive inverse head and shoulders, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We should break out. Should hit about $8, and then who knows? I mean, who knows, right? I mean, it's 18 is the all-time high, so I think the super pump here would be somewhere around $30, 10 bagger. So this could be a 10 bagger in the future if it really can get going. And let's look at BBAI. BBAI should swing up past this high at 7, should tag 11 or 12, and then who knows, right? Who knows? Kind of an ugly inverse head and shoulders trying to form here, and you know, I think it's just it's gonna catch the AI bit. It's gonna and that's what's the theme right now. And you've got impulses, you've got 3-wave moves. So I mean, the market's showing you the direction. It wants to go higher on these, and I believe these give you some opportunity for some pumps. Space is just going crazy here for whatever reason. We had the buy area here. Now it dumped below it, and this is where you just had to have the conviction to hold through that. But I mean, it's even that small buy area is within a much larger buy area. You see this large area. And where can space go? Well, we already know space can come all the way back up to $60 one day. So a 10 bagger. Again, I'm not saying tomorrow. This could be years from now as this plays out. These pumps play out just like we had here. But do what's best for you. Because these stocks, you never know, they can go bankrupt and then they're worth nothing. So they're just totally speculative. I don't like any of the green stocks. I still want to see pushes lower in the first solar end phase energy. Not interested. And of course, China, is struggling a little bit. Now everyone's like excited about NEO, and I do believe it's in a new cycle higher. So if you missed $7, say you missed it, you're just gonna have to get in on that if you believe in that company. And obviously Baidu, this was a good area to buy, and so was PDD down here. We had these as buys, and if you were patient, they all worked out. Now you're getting a healthy pullback to get in on this too. Here you have 3, so there's your so 2 could be done, or it could bounce and fail and get one more chance. You get I think it's like your last chance to pull the trigger. That could probably be your last chance. Although with Bitcoin running, it could be done, and we'll see. KWeb, again, it's in a 2 against 24. Baba did dip and it blew through, so you would have been stopped out on this dip buy. So again, it could be finished here, but it looks very much like the Hang Seng, so it could bounce and fail, but it has to be above 77. And then YNN is keep an eye on it. As long as it's above 28, it's in a bullish cycle. It breaks 28. Then the Hang Seng, then the world markets have much bigger problems because there'll be a connector, and then it will break 18, and that means China's going to go take a massive dump. So this is important from a market structure to hold. 28.94, and so is the emerging market ETF as well. We have that as the EDC as long as it holds 26 in this 2. So EEM could do that. So the EEM could pull back like this while the EDC respects this low. So it'll be interesting, but really EDC can't break 26. The EM does have room to break 36 as long as it holds 33. So we'll see how this plays out. Okay, so I think that's all I've got today. So expect violent whipsaw action, chop. I don't think it's just going to be easy as, just go buy Tesla calls or go buy because it's going to like dump and then bounce and dump, and it's going to seem so erratic to so many people. So you just got to trade setups that show up at your, show up. And right now, like if I was trading the SPY, I would wait 429, boom, I'm long. Here, I'm not long. Here, I'm just watching sidelines, eating my popcorn. Does it go higher? Cool. I'll make some money because I'm already long other things. Oh, is it going to dump? Okay, I'll get long the SPY, right? It's like here, though, is just going to sucker in people because it's a gamble. If it's going to go up or down, you don't know. And same thing with the triple Qs. But if it can come down, one more swing, hey, I like that. I like that on all these. Now, the Russell may already be finished here in this third, here on that against that 183. So that could tell you the market probably wants to bounce. So we'll see how this plays out. But yeah, expect chop, whipsaw action. And then China, keep an eye on that. It's still got a lot more room to play with. But if it does take this low out, this May 31st low, then I think the market structure is in a lot of danger. And we'll have to reassess things quickly. That's going to change. That's going to change a lot right now. But as long as it's in this 2, then I'm playing for this 3 of 3 moment, which could be some massive gains. If this 3 of 3 happens, you'll have massive gains in YINN. Yeah, YINN. You'll have a massive dump in the dollar. So you just do, that's how it's just what should happen when this 2 finishes at some point. So we'll see. All right, guys, that's all I've got.